Hey everybody, Madeline here to talk about the astrology that's building towards this weekend, which is the Mars is building a trine to Venus. It is also building a square to Mercury. We have the Sun and Uranus conjoining that happens every year, but it's kind of happening at an interesting time. And then we have Venus coming out of shadow because Venus went retrograde at 9 degrees Aries, and so did Mercury, which was the same degree point of that eclipse on March 29th. So Venus is going to come in, trine Mars at that 9 degree point where that eclipse was, and activate that eclipse. So let's take a look at the chart. Oh, I guess I don't have it opened. 1 second. So interesting because Mars rules Aries and Mars is making contact with Venus at that point. So let's start with today. So here's today. There's Venus at 8 degrees Aries, and Venus went, Venus was at 9 or 10 degrees when it went retrograde March 1st, I think. And the eclipse happened, sun and moon eclipse, new moon solar, March 29th, 9 degrees Aries, right where Venus went retrograde and right where Mercury also went retrograde. They all went together. Then Venus got really stuck with Saturn, which blocked a lot of things. Venus was in retrograde. Money felt really tight. It was close to Saturn. And during the eclipse, I'm sorry, I'm not, yeah, during the eclipse, Venus was very close to Saturn. So now Mars was in Cancer. So now Mars is in Leo, trining, ruling of that eclipse, making a very positive angle to the eclipse point while Venus comes out of shadow. So something happens here for people that have planets at these degrees. There's going to be some sort of activation of that eclipse. And also, when Venus comes out of shadow and it's in direct motion and it's away from Saturn, all things Venus start to happen, which is money, relationships, creative projects, work agreement, partnership agreements, contracts, sales, all the good things in life, basically. Everything we desire. So that's going to start happening on Wednesday when we see Venus hit that degree, which is tomorrow. Now, the other thing that's going to happen, then we've also got that trine building all week. In fact, it exacts at 15 degrees next week on Wednesday. So this is a conversation we'll be having all week. So, but here is the next thing occurring, which will be Sun Uranus. And that's going to happen on Saturday. And that's going to make a really favorable angle to Saturn, and it's going to sextile the south node or trine the south node. And the full moon in Scorpio is trining the south node. So we're suddenly releasing something happening very quick out of the blue that enables us to let something go, let the past go. Plus, we've got that 29th degree point of Saturn, which is totally untangling last knots. So it's literally like some last entanglement, untied, unknot, setting us free. It's a kite energy where we're free. That's exactly what I'm experiencing because I just untangle the last karmic knot with my ex-husband over past tax confusion and money and bank account stuff. It was so complicated, but it's literally yesterday I heard that we were free of this. And it was just like, wow, I untangled that knot, this 30-year knot at least. So anyway, so that's a really liberating, freeing feeling like a kite lifting up into the sky. And there it is, the tail at the south node of the kite, like bye, waving goodbye. Something is now really being released and into our past. It's a good feeling. And then we've got Mercury then is going to make, okay, so that was that sudden out of the blue occurrence, good news, run-ins, things. It could very well involve Mars trine Venus, communication from someone from the past that's your divine mate, or relationships, or contract agreements, or like, for instance, say you had a manager, you were a musician, you hear from your manager again and you want to retry things and go back because Venus is in direct now. So it's like we can see a way forward, or Venus in direct is going to solve a lot of problems. Solution, and Aries is action energy, being motivated. Hang on 1 sec. Um, and then don't forget, Mars is in passionate, fired up Leo, which is very hot under the ready to go and can be quite sexual. Just heads up. And Venus in Aries is also very sexual. So that could be a very hot and steamy weekend ahead for some. Anyway, especially with that Uranus Sun conjoining, like all of a sudden out of the blue, some sort of passionate rendezvous and meetup. So then we're going to have the other thing I want to talk about. I think that's it, actually. Um, I think that's it. Then we have the Mercury square Mars, so that's happening too. So that's conflict. That's Mercury, Taurus can be pushy, wanting their way. Leo Mars can be higher, fired up, talking too much, talking too quick, roaring. Leo Mars, I noticed my sons both have Leo Mars, and when they get angry, they sound like lions. They roar. So you could get angry, get into an argument and roar. And then the Mercury and Taurus is pushing, they're pushy, pushy. So that's an energy to watch out for. And it can be competitive communication, pride, Leo, pride, Taurus, bully, pushy, being right. And then that causes some sort of ending of a situation which you release because of that energy to the South Node, causing ending of relationships or um, other situations, what other situation? Quitting a job or quitting, depending on your chart. But that's an energy of terminating, cutting something, ending things. Or what else could that be? Or just working, hashing something out. You can actually just be getting into a passionate debate about something, and then you break through it, and there's this beautiful makeup love happening. So that is the rest of the week. I didn't want to try to fit this whole week in a one post at the beginning of the week, and I don't think I'm going to do weekly reports. I think I'm going to do daily, odd dailies every so often because there's so much happening all at once sometimes. All right. Have a wonderful weekend and week. Namaste.